Hello everyone. Today we are going to be going over setting up the Edge Router4 with the Dominion Design and Integration Network Standard. So we're going to start off by opening up a notepad. I recommend Notepad++, so that way just in case you type some stuff, you close out of the window and you reopen it, you didn't just lose all of your work. So definitely recommend using that. So go ahead and we will start off on this first line by entering in our customer's information with our standard, which is street name, and for this video I'm going to be using our address for an example. So we'll do College Oak, comma, and the number 16161, space, dash, space, and then the last name, and our last name will be Integration. Put a space, a couple spaces, and we know we're going to be setting up our Edge Router 4 first. We're going to be setting it to our company standard, which is 192.168.5.254. We're going to need a username, which our default username we set up is Dominion Admin. We're going to need a password, a random generated password. So we will go ahead and grab that. We'll open up Chrome. We'll go to our Keeper extension, generate password, and it gives you a couple different options to create a password. You can view it, roll another one with the dice here, and we'll just go ahead and copy it, space, paste that in there. Alright, so now we have all the information we need to set up our router. So we'll first make a physical connection with an Ethernet cable from our laptop to Ethernet 0 of the Edge Router 4. And now these Edge Router 4s come defaulted at 192.168.1.1. So we're going to need to set a static on our computer. And we need to be on the .1 subnet. As long as we have this ending here and anything besides 1, we're good to go. I set 99, and we'll hit tab to set the subnet mask, and we'll hit OK to save this. We'll go ahead and go back to our web browser, and now we're going to access the router by going to the default IP address 192.168.1.1. We'll hit enter. You'll get this page. Go ahead and click Advanced and Proceed. All of the default Ubiquiti credentials are UBNT. We'll go ahead and hit the checkbox and hit Login. You're going to get this message, and yes, we do want to start with the basic wizard. So there's a few different ways you can set this router up, but today we're going to be setting it up with the WAN plus 2 LAN 2. This top portion we leave alone. The Ethernet 0 is always where our internet is going to be coming in, or is our WAN port, so we'll leave that alone. And we're going to be configuring Ethernet 1 and Ethernet 2. Ethernet 1 is where we'll set our standard at 192.168.5.254, and Ethernet 2 is where we'll set our other standard, 192.168.6.254. We'll scroll down and we'll go ahead and create a new admin user to erase that UBNT. Username is Dominion Admin, which is our standard. Then we'll go back to our notes here and we'll go ahead and copy this password we generated and pop that in there. Hit apply. This is letting us know that whenever we reboot this router and make these changes, that Ethernet 1 is going to be 5.254 and Ethernet 2 is going to be .6.254, and the only way we can access this is if we are connected to either LAN port and we go to either one of those IP addresses, just depending on which Ethernet port you plug into. So we'll hit apply, hit reboot. Yes, I'm sure. We'll go ahead and give it a couple seconds to reboot, and during this time you're going to want to go ahead and unplug the Ethernet cable that's in ETH0, move that to Ethernet 1. So now there should be a cable from Ethernet 1 to your laptop, and then in Ethernet 0 you will plug in a Ethernet cable that is your internet line coming in from your modem router combo, whatever you're dealing with on site. And so now that we're plugged into Ethernet 1, we will be getting handed an IP address on a .5 subnet. We'll wait for that to load, and you can also have this command prompt open, type in ipconfig, and wait to see. I'm also connected on Wi-Fi. Let me turn off the Wi-Fi. And hit up, enter. Wait to see when you will get a .5 IP address. Oh, and also you need to set your computer back to DHCP. Forgot about that part. So we took it off of that .1.99 static. Also another good reason to run this, because this right here showed me that I was still on that IP address. So we'll hit yes, we like this network, hit ipconfig again, and now we have a 5.38 address, and it shows our gateway is 5.254. So that's good. I'm going to close out of this for now. So now the 1.1 is obviously not going to work. We're going to go to 192.168.5.254. Advanced. Proceed. And we're going to use the new credentials that we created when we set this router up. So we'll go ahead and copy that back. And we are in. So there's a couple different ways you can adjust some of the settings that we're needing to adjust, but we'll start doing it through UNMS. So one of the most important things you want to do is to name your router. That being, you can find it a couple different ways. So if you have the Ubiquity tool, you scan the network. I get the IP address and I get the name. So we're going to go ahead and name this. Typically we name it the person's last name and then the model that it is. This is an ER4. Go ahead and hit save. So now if I hit scan again, there's the name. There's the IP address, and I'll show you where else this name will come in handy here in a second. So now we have it named. We're going to need to connect this to UNMS. So let's keep this tab open, open a new tab, and go back, and we're going to go ahead and search UNMS. We have the UNMS page right here. We'll click this arrow. It'll log us right in. Ignore that. And we're going to go ahead and need to create a site first for our client. So we'll hit new site. This is where it prompts us for the name. Now we know we already named it our standard over here. No need to retype it. We will copy and paste that in here for the name. Now the address, we'll type it just like it is, 16161 College Oak. And if this was not in the way, you'd be able to see some of the different options here, and it'll kind of autofill. And we'll just hit save. So now, over here, we have our College Oak site. So we'll click it, and we have nothing in here. So we'll click this arrow off to the side of add a device here. We'll copy this key to the clipboard. We're going to go over here to the system, scroll down, and we have this UNMS connection here. We'll go ahead and check this box. We're going to Control V, paste that in there, go down and hit save. And now we'll notice we have, we'll hit refresh. We have a solid green light showing it is connected to UNMS. It also has this check mark here, and it also shows us the last time it's been connected to UNMS. So that's good. We'll go ahead and minimize that. Let's go back to UNMS. Now we need to add the device to this specific site. It's in our database but not the site. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. Right now I just click the devices. We have all devices, disconnected, good, and discovered. So one way you can do it, if you just added this in, you can click discovered, and over here you'll click the discovered again and twice. Oops. And see, it says last seen now. We just added it. So we can assign it, and we also see the host name. So that's one way. You can go back here to the all devices. You can type in integration search, and wouldn't you know it, our router is right there. So we'll go ahead and assign it to College Oak. Assign. Give it a second. We'll go back to our site here to College Oak. So here we go. We have our router. I personally like the list. We'll hit the list. Shows us we have an update here, which this is a good way of updating equipment. So we'll go ahead and click on our router, and we have a couple different options. The main thing we want to do here is set up the DHCP range. We see we have our 5-dot network and our 6-dot network on Ethernet 1 and Ethernet 2. So the main one we're going to be messing with here is the Ethernet 1, our 5-dot. We're going to go ahead and delete that, and we're going to start our range at 140, and our range is going to end at 199. Our router's IP stays the same. The DNS is going to be 8.8.8.8. The secondary DNS is 8.8.4.4, and we're going to change this to 12 hours. And our unified controller, which we'll be setting up in another video, is 192.168.5.89, and that is our standard for that. We'll hit save. So now we'll refresh, and if you wanted to see those same settings over here in the router GUI, we'll hit DHCP. We have LAN 1, LAN 2, just like we saw on the website. We'll hit Actions, View Details, and the same settings that we changed over there have now changed over here. The only difference is this number. It is seconds instead of hours, but 43,200 equals 12 hours. So that's good. We'll save it. And so on this time we'll edit Ethernet 2. Even though we're not going to use it, we'll edit it to 140. We'll end it at 199. Our router will stay the same. The controller, if we had one, would end up being on a .6 network. So we'll say .6.89. The DNS will be 8.8.8.8. The second DNS will be 8.8.4.4. And both of those DNS servers are just Google. And then the lease time, this is 24 hours. So we need to just cut that in half. So we'll enter 43,200, and we'll hit save. And now it has reflected over here as well, the same changes that we made. So you can do it either way. There's no right or wrong, whether you want to edit the settings from the router GUI or if you like doing it from UNMS. You know, either way is fine. With this option, you can just throw it in UNMS, jump over here, you know, make a couple settings changes over here, and then start updating it. And so you don't have to go on Ubiquity's website, download the file, and upload it through the router GUI right here. So that does save us a little bit of time. So that is the pretty much the configuration for the router. If you have any questions or concerns, you're more than welcome to get with me anytime, and I can answer some more detailed questions. But thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next one.